Welcome everyone. This is Peer Education Season 5, a great initiative by AJSD training program. For those who are joining first time, this series provides our interns the opportunity to study and present on key technical topics. This also helps participants like us to our knowledge on specific topics. Today's topic is Salesforce testing with Selenium. As we know, Selenium endures automated, efficient, and reliable testing. Now we have Jason to explain more about Salesforce testing, specifically with Selenium with a demo. Over to you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Vijit. Okay, so good evening and good morning, everyone. So myself, Jason. Today I'm going to explain about Selenium. So normally, what is testing? So testing is nothing but it is a process to ensure whether the product works as expected. So it is like trying out a new phone, whether all the functionalities like camera, like the call features, like the other functionalities working fine or not before it is getting released to the market. So let's take an example. So recently we saw like iPhone 16 launched. So before releasing this product, definitely the quality assurance and quality control team would have verified all the applications. If it is not verified, means definitely there will be a huge blunder. So it will be a huge loss to the sales team, to the Apple market. So definitely testing is required whenever a product is developed. This is just a basic example of what is testing. So let's deep dive into different products of testing, like where these testings are involved. So normally testings are involved in all daily life. Like in product testing, we could say like say for example, like if there is any toy or a car that is being released in the market. So before releasing, definitely we should check whether it is working fine or not, like the safety measures or the brakes, like that we have to make sure whether it is working fine or not. So that's where the product testing comes into picture. So in terms of medical testing, before going to medical testing, I will give you an example. Like in product testing, we have a lots of electric bulb in the market, electric bulbs and lamps. Okay, so before releasing to the product, we have to ensure whether these lights work with a high voltage and low voltage to ensure whether it is functional, whether it is working functionally. Otherwise, there could be some safety hazards if there is any high voltage occurs. So how it is performing. So those kind of testing, definitely the QA and QC team would have been done. So in medical field, to ensure the safety and quality, we have to verify whether these functionalities are working fine. So in hospitals, we could see the X-ray machines. We can monitor heartbeat. So based on that only, the doctors will advise how a heart rate is working. So based on that, if we need any surgery, then only they will proceed. So definitely medical field also we need testing, like the equipments, everything. So in terms of school or job testing also, like the students, teachers will ask the question, and the students will reply. So completing the task or homework. So in everywhere, the testing is important, and it is definitely needed in the market. So why testing is required in all industries? Here comes the software industry. So before releasing an app or a software, it needs to be tested for bugs or glitches. So in banking industry, say for example, if you're having an app and you're transferring the amount to your friend, suddenly if you see that all your amount is transferred to all the different participants in your app, like it is transferred to your friends, relatives, everywhere. So that is definitely a huge issue. So it not only you lose money, but also it's a reputational damage to the bank. So before releasing these kinds of apps, definitely the testing team would ensure like all the functionalities are working fine. They would have measured the safety checks, have verified all these conditions before releasing. So that's where the software industry will have the separate team called testing. So in terms of automobile industry, we could see like there's the cars undergo safety and performance tests to ensure to work well on safe for drivers. Like if the car brake is not working, suppose if an airplane have some technical issues, what will happen? Definitely there will be a huge loss for all the people who are in car or in airplane. So definitely there will be a problem to the respective owners, like the car industries as well as the government. So before releasing these kind of product, definitely there would have been some safety measures they would have verified. Say for example, if airbag feature is not working, what will happen? Definitely there will be loss for the human being, right? So these kind of testing could have been done before releasing the products. So when it comes to the healthcare industry, medical devices and drugs need to be testing to ensure that are effective and safe for patients. So in real-time world, if you're having any headaches or any cold or some problem, so you'll be going to medical shop and you'll get some medicines, right? So those kind of medicines, definitely they would have been tested. Otherwise, if you're having some other, if you can get some other illness because of this medicine that you're taking, so these kind of measures they would have verified before releasing the medicines or tablets or whatever syrups they are releasing into the market. Like if you're going to the hospital, suppose the glucometer or the sugar level monitor is showing incorrect data, and based on that incorrect data, if doctors are providing the prescriptions, means definitely there will be some challenges that you will be facing in your health. So before releasing, definitely we need to verify all these things. So this is what testing that comes into healthcare, automobile, and product industries. So we have to verify all these kind of information before releasing into the product. So let me move to the next slide. So in software industry, we have different types of testing. So before verifying a product, we have to make sure whether the functionalities are working fine or not. So here, let me explain what is unit testing. So testing the individual parts of the software to make sure each part works correctly. That means when a developer is developing some product and they are going to verify before releasing, they have to verify the whatever they have developed. They need to verify whether it is working as per the business requirement. So that is called unit testing. And also, once the code is deployed in the QA org, we have to follow a few standard manual testing procedures. That includes acceptance testing. So what is acceptance testing? It ensures the software meets the business requirements and it's ready for release. Like whatever scenarios they have mentioned in the acceptance criteria, that should work as per the requirement. So example, like checking a new feature in the banking app works as expected for a real customers before it launched. So this is the main functionality that we have to verify. So this is called acceptance testing. And we also have a smoke testing. Smoke testing is nothing but a preliminary software analysis that verifies the build and stability of a functionality before rigorous testing. Like before, if you are proceeding any kind of testing, we will be doing smoke testing, whether the functionality is stable, whether the website is stable, whether the app which they have developed is stable or not, just to continue, just to verify whether one or two test cases working fine or not. Then comes the integration testing. So what is integration testing? So normally we'll be having multiple sprints in our organization. So in sprint 1, they have developed some changes, and in sprint 2, we have the development team have developed some changes. So checking different parts of the software works well together when it's combined. In sprint 1, a development team would have released in one environment, like say for example, sit1 environment. In sprint 2, if the environment is not available, then the development team would have deployed in sit2 environment. So there will be two different environments, but we have to verify these two changes working fine when it is combined. So that's why this integration testing comes into picture. Then comes the regression testing. So regression testing is nothing but when testing to ensure the new updates or changes in the software haven't broken anything that used to work. Example, if the code is deployed in the testing environment and we are verifying a particular change, suppose if you are finding any defect for that particular change, we'll be raising a bug and we'll be assigning to the development team. So based on the commands, the development team will rewrite the logic and they will deliver the new code. So at that time, when they are deploying the new code, the existing functionality, whatever we had tested, whatever it was deployed earlier, that should not break. So we have to verify the existing functionality as well as the new functionality. So that's called regression testing. So these are the manual testings that will be focusing in the software industry. And in what is performance testing? Performance testing and load testing, it's like a functionality that will be verifying based on the user, how many users are handling. Like we'll say like performance testing means like if well, a software performs under different conditions like heavy traffic or large amount of data. So say for example, there might be a different offers in Amazon, like Big Billion Day in Flipkart, Prime Day in Amazon. So at the time, many people will be logging into the Amazon or Flipkart site, and they'll be checking the products, whichever is have a good percentage, like a good good amount. So at that time, multiple users will be logging in, right? So at that time, the website should not face any technical issues. The website should be stable. It should not crack, or it should not like slow down. So that's where the performance testing comes into picture. Load testing is also similar. Like a particular time, if more than 10,000 users are coming and logging in into the Flipkart or Amazon site, how it is working. Like say for example, like an online game, once without a causing a crash, like multiple users will be logging into Facebook site. So at the same time, the Facebook app should not crash. Even the Netflix app, multiple people will be logging in and watching movies or series from different countries, right? So at that time, the Netflix app should not be crashed. So that's where this load testing and performance testing comes into picture. We also have a separate automation tool for these things. Like we'll be having a JMeter, which is an open source tool where we can verify the performance and the load testing of the particular application. As well as we have the QC, I mean the quality, another software that is a paid one. So that also will be helpful to verify the performance and load testing. So generally, what is automation testing? So automation testing is the process of using software tools to test the application automatically instead of manually checking them. This involves writing test scripts, automated instruction to verify the software works as expected. So normally, what this automation means, like if you are working on some particular changes, and if they are having some multiple changes for this particular functionality, so each and every time, if you don't want to verify it manually, so at that time, this automation picture comes into picture. Like it will work the same functionality multiple times. So this is where automation testing comes into picture. We could see like what are the benefits of automation testing. Like first example, speed. So automated tests run much faster than manual tests. This helps you get results quicker, which is especially useful for large or complex application. Suppose in an organization, if you have like 1,000 test cases that we need to verify in a particular week, like a particular days. So automation comes into picture. Whatever code we have, if you just click and if you execute, it will run and it will provide the results. So we don't need to verify it manually again and again. So that's where the automation comes into picture. So reusability. Once a test script is created, it can be reused multiple times for different versions of the software without any extra effort. So this means like if you're releasing, if there's a legacy application, like old application, and any new changes are coming into the application. So at that time, the previous changes, whatever we have verified, that we have to retest it again. So if you have multiple test cases, more than 10,000 test cases or hundreds of test cases, we should not verify it manually. So at that time, this automation comes into picture. It will execute all the test cases and provide the results. And accuracy. So automation eliminates human error. Computer execute test cases exactly as planned, ensuring consistent, reliable results. So after all, like if we are doing any manual testing, so at the time we may miss any scenarios or miss any important test cases. So at that time, automation will eliminate the human error. So whatever code which we are writing, so that will execute properly, and based on that, it will provide the results. So we can avoid the human error. Coverage. So automation can cover a large number of tests in a short period, helping to test more scenarios and catch bugs that might missed manually. So already, as I said, like if there are multiple test cases and if you miss any particular test case while doing manual verification, so this automation will help us to verify all the test cases in a short period of time, and also it avoids a human error. Cost effective over time. While setting up automation tests can be time consuming in the long run, they save money because they reduce the need for repeated manual testing. So initially there are few tools that is paid version and few tools that are like open source tool we can use. So initial configuring the setup might take some time, but once we configure, it will be very helpful to the organization, also to the individuals who are working on this automation. So once we have all the codes that has been written based on the acceptance criteria, we can use whenever we want, and it is reusable, like it's a multi-time we can use based on the versions, based on the browsers we can verify. Continuous integration. Automated tests can be run frequently as a part of continuous integration pipeline, helping to catch problems early during the development cycle. So normally in a agile methodology, once the code is deployed, we'll be parallelly verifying the scenarios, right? So at the time, whenever the continuous integration, like continuous development, the development team is continuously giving the automation, giving the code, we have to verify and provide the results and show the demo to the product owner and Scrum Master. So at that time, the automation test cases will be helpful for us to frequently run and verify all the results and show them to the business person. So this is where the automation testing comes into picture, and these are the benefits. So in market, there are different types of automation. So the majority of the people, they are using Selenium, and it supports multiple languages like Java, Python, Ruby, C++, JavaScript, and it is a free version. We don't need to pay any money, and it supports UI testing. So mainly most of the people will be using Java as a programming language, and in my application I also use Java as a programming language. And APM. So APM also supports these kind of language, and it is mainly used to verify the mobile testing, like Android application or as iOS application. So even Cypress, it supports only JavaScript and TypeScript. It is a free version and it supports UI testing. So the Playwright. So Playwright is also a latest automation testing tool which is introduced recently, and it supports JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and C#. It is also a free and open source tool which supports UI application, mobile via browsers testing. So it supports UI application as well as mobile testing. Then comes the Postman. So Postman is nothing but to verify the API testing. It also has the free version as well as the paid version. So we also have HP UFT, Unified Functional Testing, which supports VB script, JavaScript, and C#, and it's a paid version. So there are multiple tools in the market based on the organization and based on the individual, whichever language they are convenient and whichever application they are going to verify, they can download the particular automation testing tool and they can use it. So as I said, I am using Selenium. Let's talk about the features of Selenium. So Selenium is a functional automation tool for web application. So mainly Selenium automates only the web application tool. It can't automate the mobile version or the desktop version, like whatever documents we have, whatever scenarios we have in the desktop, that it can't be automated. Only the web-based applications, whatever written in the whatever is available in the web, that only can be automated. Selenium is an open source tool, so no cost involved. It supports the browsers like Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Google Chrome, and Opera. So it supports different browsers. Selenium supports languages like HTML, Java, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby, and C#. It supports operating systems like Windows, Linux, and Macs. So based on the operating system, we can download the particular version and we can use the different browsers to verify the applications. It is very flexible when compared to Qtp and other functional tools, because Qtp is written VB script, so it is a little bit complicated, but it supports different language, but same as like Selenium. But Qtp is a paid version, whereas Selenium is a free version and it supports multiple languages. So everyone has a knowledge like automation testing, but they doesn't know like when to implement this automation testing. So whenever the application is stable, like post development phase, once the development team has deployed the code in the QA org, so at that time we can implement automation testing, because we will be having a full understanding about the application and we know what types of script that we need to be executed, what is like in scope and out scope, like what are the scripts that are available in the function, like what are the functionalities that we need to verify. And for repetitive and high risk and critical tasks, like say for example, like if there are 1,000 test cases and like 70 to 80% of the test cases are repetitive test cases, we can automate those kind of test cases. And even the high risk, like whichever scenario is very important or very critical, we can highlight, we can move that critical or high risk test cases and we can execute those test cases whenever it is required. And when can we implement? During the regression testing phase. So as I said earlier, so regression testing phase means like once the code is deployed in the QA org and when we find any defect and again the development team provides any code, so at that time the existing functionality should not break. So to verify the existing functionality, we can use automation. And also to perform load and multiple testing, performance and load testing. Like, if a particular application is there and if you want to log in to that particular application using different login credentials, so at the time also we can use automation testing. And during continuous integration and continuous deployment, so whenever as we are following this agile methodology, so multiple developers will be deploying the code in the developer org, right? So at that time we have to verify the code changes accordingly. So during continuous integration, continuous deployment also, we can integrate automation testing into a picture. So Selenium also supports the cross browsers and cross platform testing. So cross browsers in the sense like it supports different browsers like Chrome, Safari, and Firefox, Mozilla, and cross platform also it supports. So these are the steps to download Selenium Eclipse. So I already downloaded the Selenium Eclipse, but I will show you initial like how to download the Selenium. Like so once you type in the Google like Eclipse download for Windows, this first page will come. Go to this one, and here install your favorite desktop IDE package. So based on the different versions you can download. So then comes, once we download, we have to create a file. Based on that, we have to create a Java project and we have to provide a code. And then once it is done, we have to also move the also have to download Selenium WebDriver. That means the libraries. So go to Google, search for Selenium WebDriver download, click on the first option. So this one, because we are using Java, so we can download Java. If you are convenient with different languages, based on that you can download. It also supports Python, JavaScript. So I have downloaded Java. So after that, we also have to download Maven dependencies. So that is, we have to go to the Google. We have to find Maven repository. Click on the first link, and whatever package we want, we can download based on that. So here I'm finding TestNG. Open the TestNG, and we will be having multiple versions. Okay, So here itself they would have mentioned like these are vulnerability, so we don't need to download this one. So based on the current release, we can download. Click on this one. These are the main dependencies. I will explain you during the demo like how to add these kind of dependencies and how to install the libraries. Let me move to the next slide. So once the initial setup is done, we have to verify whether the code is executed properly or not. So we have to create our own class. So after downloading the libraries, after adding the dependencies, we have to create a class. Based on the class, we have to add the main method. Once the main method is added, we have to add the Chrome driver. So Chrome driver means whenever you are working on the UI application, so in which browser it has to open. So here I'm using Chrome driver because I need to open the particular application in Chrome driver. So driver.get. So what website I need to open? Here I have logged as I have mentioned as a Salesforce application. So I have given driver.get with the website name. Whatever website I need to open, I'm giving here. So if you face, definitely you'll be having some red lines. That means like the code issue. So at the time you need to import the Chrome driver because we have installed Chrome driver, right? Like we have used Chrome driver. So we have to import Chrome driver version. So once it is done, we have to save and we have to do Control plus F11. So it will execute, it will run in the backend and it will launch a new browser and it will open Salesforce application. So this is the initial setup that we need to check whether the code is working properly or not. Okay, so the comprehensive approach to Selenium testing. So here comes regression and validation and report techniques. Like we can perform regression testing with Selenium by writing reusable scripts in the form of functions or methods. So as I said earlier, we can perform regression testing using Selenium by reusing the same script again and again in the form of functions or methods. So in whichever way we are convenient, we can mention it by grouping by functions or methods. We can perform retesting with the loop concept. So say for example, if I want to log in some particular application and with the different credentials, if I have three positive test cases and 2 negative test cases, those 3 test cases should pass and 2 negative test cases should fail. So at the time, I don't need to write multiple 5 test cases for 5 different scenarios. If I write only one particular test cases and if I use looping concept with different data sets, it will work. We can also validate the application using conditional statements. So based on the conditional statements, we can validate the application. Like if else, if conditions, which condition, where condition we can use. We can perform database testing. Yes, we can integrate database testing in Selenium Eclipse and we can get the data and we can also insert an update and we can validate the data. Reporting of the test results. So whenever we are executing the test cases, if we are having multiple test cases, so based on that, we need to understand how many test cases are passed for a particular test cases, how many seconds it took, and what are the screenshots. And we have to show this kind of report to the product owner and to the Scrum Master, right? So at the time, the report will be helpful. So error handling and particular unexpected results. So during verification, so if you are facing any error handling, like if there is a negative scenario that needs to be verified, so at the time also we can mark this error handling, like for the particular test cases, we can validate as a negative scenario and we can verify whether it can be captured in the try catch method based on the expected condition. Like if there's a login feature and if you're giving any invalid credentials, those invalid conditions should fail and that should be captured. So that's why this comes into picture. We can also use test case grouping. So if we have if we have like hundreds of test cases and in 100 of test cases, if we have only like 30 to 40 smoke testing cases and remaining 40 cases are regressions like previous scenarios cases. So we want to execute out of 100 only 40 test cases, means we can group it together by grouping functionality. Only those 40 test cases will execute and it will provide the result. Only the re-execution of failed test case also we can do. So whatever out of 100 test cases, if there are like 10 to 20 test cases are getting failed, only those 20 test cases we can re-execute and we can verify. So that is also possible. And whatever test case we are executing, we will be showing the report to the product owner, to the business owners, and also with the evidence like screenshot we need to capture. So that also is possible using Selenium. So what is TestNG? So TestNG is nothing but is a popular testing framework for Java inspired by JUnit, but with some improvements and additional features. It's like a framework. It's a next generation. TestNG is called next generation, and it's primarily used for unit testing, integration testing, end-to-end testing, testing with high flexible and supports parallel test execution, provides powerful annotation and configuration options and reporting features. So these are the benefits that we have in TestNG. Like end-to-end testing is also possible to ensure what the workflows or features in a system testing. It also integrate all the application. Say for example, if there are multiple test cases, so for one particular test case, if I want to verify in Google Chrome, and the remaining test cases I want to verify in Safari browser or in some other different browsers, so that is also possible. At the same time, if I want to execute two different test cases at the same time, so I want to know like what are the performance, how many milliseconds it is taking, so that is also possible. So that's where this TestNG framework comes into picture, and it supports Java as a programming language. So there are key features of TestNG. So we have annotations, allows configuration of test methods, setup and teardown. Like we have multiple annotations in TestNG. So during the demo, I'll show you like what all the annotations that I've used. And parallel execution. You can run tests in parallel, improving the execution time for larger test suites. So if there are multiple test cases, and if you want to verify these test cases parallelly using the same browser, so that is also possible to make sure whether the performance of the application is working as expected. Okay, and data-driven testing supports data provides to run tests with different inputs. So we have an annotation called data providers. Instead of providing, say for example, if you have multiple test cases with the login credentials, so I don't need to hardcode all the inputs in the test cases. Using a data provide annotation, we can hardcode the value there, and we can call those functionality during a test execution. So that is also possible during with the TestNG. Testing groups. You can organize the test in groups and selectively execute or skip groups. So if there are hundreds of test cases, out of 100 test cases, we can group 40 test cases, and only those 40 test cases will execute. Remaining 60 test cases can be skipped. So that is also possible. Test prioritization. Like if there are multiple test cases, I need to execute out of like, say for example, if there are 10 test cases, only 5 test cases need to be executed first, and the remaining 5 test cases need to be executed at the last. So we can prioritize based on the annotations. We have priority. And as I said, like we have reporting, generated detailed HTML and XML reports for like how many test cases passed and how many test cases failed. That also possible. And dependency management, define dependency between test to control the execution flow. So we have dependency management that will verify. So based on the dependencies, it will control the execution flow. So if I have functionality that I need to verify, so before that functionality, I need to log into that particular application. So what I will do, I'll have the depends upon method. So that will execute the login functionality first, and then it will verify the functionality. So I don't need to execute multiple methods. I can execute only one method, but that method is depending on other method. So that's why this annotation comes into picture. So these are the TestNG methods we have. So test marks a method as a test method. So if you have multiple test cases, we can use test method. So based on the test method, if we are having any annotations like priority or depends on method, we can use. So but test method is a method that will execute whatever test cases we have written. So likewise, we have before suite and after suite. So that execute before the test suite run, and after suite it execute after the test suite is run. So similarly, we have before test and after test. So I'll be showing these kind of annotations, whatever I used in POCs for sprint 1 and sprint 2. So data provider will provide the test data, and parameterize constructor. Parameters like we will be providing whatever test case we want to run in an XML file. So that also is possible. And yeah, so these are the multiple methods that TestNG have, and the important method depends upon method. Specifies method that should be executed before the current method. So we have groups enabled. So we have multiple TestNG methods that can be used in a project. It depends upon what are the functionality that you are going to verify. Okay. Okay, let's go into the hands-on demo. So this is the Selenium Eclipse. I have used Selenium as IDE version, IDE tool. Okay, so before this, I will show you like how to add the libraries. Like once you download, let me create a class. I'm creating a class. I'm using main method. So this is how we have to write. So first, initially we have to create a class inside which we have to create a main method. So main method is nothing but heart of the, without main method, it won't execute. So we have to write all our code in the main method, then only it will execute. Now I'm trying to execute. Go to this option, run. So whatever printing statement I have used, that is executed here. So this is how we have to verify whether our code is working fine or not after adding all the libraries. So as I said earlier, so once we download this Eclipse in our desktop, we have to add these Java libraries. So it will be in lib format, lib format, and as well as in the Java format. So how to add those libraries? So go to the the package whatever we have created. Right click here and find the properties. Here, this is the property. Go to the property. Go to Java build. And already I have added the libraries here, so that's why I'm not able to see the add external jars. So before providing the new setup, we have to go to the Java build path, click on the libraries, add external jars. So whatever jar file you have downloaded, you can add it here and click on apply and close. So this is how we have to add the libraries in the application. And once we add, we can work on the code. So let me write new code. Then I'm going to explain the code which I have written for the sprint 1 and 2. So initially I'm using Chrome driver. So let me use the Chrome driver version. So Chrome driver. So once I write this Chrome driver, I can see that import Selenium Chrome driver version. So this Chrome driver is getting imported here. Okay. So based on the driver, I'll be calling the method. So driver dot get. Here you can see string URL. So whatever application you're going to verify, like say for example, if you're going to log into Salesforce application, provide that URL in string format. So that's why they have mentioned string URL. So here, if I'm going to use any Salesforce application or Flipkart application or Amazon application, any browsers, if I want to use, I can use it here. So let me So see here, this is the website that I've used. So this is the POC 5 application, latest application that I've used here in drive.get method. Okay. Then comes, once you are opening the application, you need to maximize the screen. So for that, driver.manage.windows.maximize. So we have a concept called maximize and minimize. If you want to maximize the screen, we're having like only 10 to 15 test cases, and if you want to see those kind of test cases, we can maximize the screen and we can do. Minimize is totally opposite. So whatever application you want to verify, and if you want to do the verification using minimizing your screen, we can do that. So this is how we have to work on the code. So I will, for time being, let me open the existing code which I have written and I'll explain you. So this is Chrome driver version which I already used, and driver.get method, which will get whatever URL we are providing here, that will get, and it will open the website. So here I am maximizing the application. So driver.manage.window.maximize, that is maximizing application. And timeout. So what is timeouts? So initially, if you are having this driver.manage timeouts, what will happen? So there are two waits: implicit wait and explicit wait. So implicit wait, it's nothing but you're instructing to a web element globally to wait for some particular seconds. So that means whatever method I am using, whatever method which I have written using find element, I am making globally to wait for 40 seconds. Why I am doing this? Because sometimes it will take some time to launch the browser, or it will take some time to do some particular action. So at that, if we mandatorily keep this implicit wait, it will wait for some particular seconds and then it will perform. So at the time, the code won't break or the functionality won't stop. So that's why we are using implicit wait. When you think that some certain elements on the page might take some time to load, so that is what we are doing. Like if we are thinking like some particular scenarios taking some time, we can use implicit wait. And what is explicit wait? It is more flexible, but it's not it's a wait condition. Like if you're particularly making some scenario to wait for some particular second, so that is explicit wait. Implicit wait is global and explicit wait is totally opposite. If you're making some particular application, wait for some particular time. Okay. So drive.find element. So what is find element? Find element is nothing but if you're finding some particular element in the UI application. Okay, so that's what find element means. By.xpath. So xpath is nothing but we have two types of xpath. Okay, absolute xpath and relative xpath. So absolute xpath is nothing but it starts from the root node and follows to the complete path. Relative xpath is nothing but it can start from any node and we can use expression to find the element. So there are multiple expressions. I will show you during the while executing the code. So why xpath is nothing but if you're clicking on some functionality, if you're performing some action, we have to take that web element from the backend, right? So to take that web element, we can use xpath, and there are multiple types of relative xpath used based on the tag name, based on the text, based on the attribute. So this is an attribute. Okay, so this is how the code I have written. So in between, I have used printing statement to understand whether the code is working fine or not, to understand where the code is. Okay, first let me execute this code and then I will give you, tell you like how I found the XPath. So it is launching the browser. Whatever website URL I have provided in driver.get method that is provided here, it is maximizing the screen. It is going to the member registration page. Whatever information I have provided, it is given. So email already exists. So that's why the validation comes into here. So that's why it is not getting executed. So whatever information I've provided hard-coded here, like first name, last name, the email address, the birth date, phone number. So whatever values I'm hard coding it here, so that is executed. Okay, now let me open this browser and tell you like how to find the XPath. So this is the website that is getting launched. So if I want to click on this particular member registration or volunteer registration, what I will do, I need to inspect what's the value that is in the member registration. So right click on this one, inspect, and we have this arrow, right? Click on this arrow, and whichever element you want to identify, go to that particular element, click there, and you could see one element is highlighted here. So this is what we have to click. So if we click this element, then only it will launch to the member registration page. So for this one, we have to get the XPath. So there are, as I said, there are multiple XPaths, right, based on the input text attribute. So here, so it is inside a text. We could see the right arrow is there, right, inside a text. It's like a link. So based on the link, if you see the link, we can take the XPath. So for that we have / the attribute a text, okay, and open braces, close braces. Inside that we have to put the value as text, open braces, close braces, equal to double quotation, single quotation, and what is the value that is available in member session. Copy this one and paste in the single quotes. You could see one element is highlighted. This should come. The yellow highlighted should come. Then only whatever XPath we are taking, that is correct or not, we can find. So that's what I have did here. See, / a text member registration, and the same goes to first name. So let me go and select the first name too. Click on here, go to the first name. We have input tag and the name as first name. Get a meaningful name so that you will understand like for which code you have written. So here name is there. Just copy this one. So what is the tag? Input tag. So this is not a tag. So input, and what's the name tag? Here we have used the name, right? So remove this one. At name equal to this member registration. In single quotes, find this name underscore C. So input tag / input, name is there, at name tag equal to whatever value that is in single quotes. So that is where I have written. The same goes to last name, first name. So this is how we have to find the XPath for this particular scenarios, like whatever scenarios you want to automate. So this is how we have to find. And so this is a normal code. So see, if I want to execute this kind of code, means multiple times, there's no looping condition, there's no group. So this is where TestNG comes into picture. So if I want to use multiple, if I want to execute multiple test cases at the same time, TestNG comes into picture. So let me open the project specific methods. Here you could see before method TestNG annotation and after method TestNG annotation and community. Here we could see at test method, and here at test method. So what's project specific methods? It is a class where I have used. Okay, so inside the class, what I did, I have used before method and after method. So before method means whenever I'm going to execute, it has to open a drive.get method to launch a particular application. It has to wait for some 40 seconds, and it has to maximize. So this is a before method. Before executing any scenario, this will perform. And once it is done, it will go to the particular scenarios. Like if I'm going to do some particular scenario for community registration, means it will come here, it will check for this test. If you have any annotations like priority or depends upon method, it will check that. But as of now, I have not written any depends upon method, only directly test method I have written. It will come here, it will execute this code, whatever I have written, and then again it will go back to project specific methods, because before method will execute first, and at test method will execute second, and last after method. So this will close the browser. The same goes to volunteer registration. Before method will execute first, at test method will execute second, and after method will execute third. Okay, now okay, so let me change the values and let me try to execute. Otherwise it will get failed. Let me change the values here. So whatever values, so this is the WebDriver weight. As I said earlier, there are two weights, implicit weight and explicit weight. Implicit weight is a global weight, explicit weight it's a particular weight that we are giving for some particular action. So I'm checking which date I'm available. So for that I'm choosing Monday, but it will take some few, so manually I'm making this wait for some particular seconds. So that is what WebDriver wait. Okay. So terms and condition confirmation. Name of number. So these are the values that is provided. So we are going to execute community registration and project specific methods. Okay, so what I did means, if I want to execute these two test cases at the same time, I could hear some background noise. Yeah. Okay, so click on this particular test cases, whatever you want to automate, right click on the TestNG, convert to TestNG class. So once you convert, you could see these kind of XML will be generated. So here my test case is community registration and volunteer registration. So if I want to execute these test cases at the same time, we can use parallel methods. We could use parallel methods. Okay. So let me first execute this method and I'll show you. TestNG suite. So it is launching the browser. So it is filling all the details. Now it will open so it will click on the volunteer registration page. It will fill all these details. And it will close. So here you could see how many test cases we have executed. So pass or fail. And if you want to verify the report, go to test output. Click on this one. Open with web browser. You could see 2 test cases have been executed, and it took like this much of milliseconds. And how many test cases passed? That's no script or nothing is failed. So overall, it took like 44,487 milliseconds. Apart from this, we also can take snapshots. So what I did means, I have used specific, created a class, and I have extended that. I have used that. I have called this static method inside my methods. Like we have a screenshot. This is a class name, screenshot, and method names get screenshot. So here, what I did, class name, line number 27, class name dot method name. So I'm passing the driver variable, and whatever screenshots I need to capture, I can passing it here. So that is available here. You can see.
Yeah.
Let me go to the location. So the screenshots are available. So availability days, Monday is there, birth date, email ID screenshot, first name and last name. So based on scenarios like whatever test case we want to take screenshots, that we can call it here. So this is how the automation will come into picture, and we can use reports, we can use screenshots, and also if we want to execute these test cases multiple times parallelly, means I've already taken. See, as of now, I'll close this browser. So it will execute parallelly. Run as TestNG suite. You can see two browsers will open at the same time, but it will fail because I didn't change the values. So I'm just showing like how it will execute. You could see two Chrome browsers launched here, right? So this is how the parallel test execution will happen. This is going for member and this is going for volunteer. So already these values are available, so it will get failed. Okay. And we can find the latest screenshots here and the reports in this folder. This email will report HTML. Okay. Any questions?
Okay, Jason, it was really more explaining. Really nice to see such a wonderful presentation. We need to revisit this. Yeah, that's really nice, man. So for our projects, how many automation you have done so far?
Up to sprint 1 I have did. Even sprint 3 once I did.
Okay,
so
great.
To track the community member status.
Like,
let me execute this one. So up to sprint 2 I have did.
Okay, great, great.
So it will track the community member status, whatever value we are providing. It will check and it will say whether the pending or approved status. So up to here I have automated.
Okay, yeah, thanks, man. So anyone have any questions, guys? Yeah, if no questions, we can stop.
If you are interested to learn Salesforce, visit AJ Skill Development website. There you can find our course curriculum and you can come to know about the list of courses we are offering. We are offering Salesforce Administrator and Salesforce Development courses. To know about us and the team, you can visit our About Us section. This is an organization we are doing Salesforce training from 2018, and we have trained and guided 2000 plus candidates so far. And if you also want to know about our placement assistance, visit our placement assistance section where you can find the list of people and the category. You can see the list of people who got trained and placed from our side. You can also visit their LinkedIn pages to get to know about our training and also the feedback from the relevant trainees. Okay. And also, if you want to do the course inquiry, click on contact us. You will see the form. You can fill the form and submit the inquiry. Our team will get back to us. Thank you.